Well, hello. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the Rube Goldberg device that you all are getting ready to make. Hopefully you've been thinking about it and have ideas for it. And I just want to be clear a couple of things. One, you can make it in real life, which I have one here, a picture of one I made in my kitchen, or you can make it on using the RGD software, which I also have here. These are basically the same device made, constructed two different ways. So we start with a pendulum on either one of them. We've got an object that travels across a horizontal surface, an object that travels down an inclined plane, and then an object that gets launched into projectile motion. What you don't see in this picture, here's a little dog treat, and my dog is waiting on the other side of the counter for the treat. So my device is a dog treat delivery system, and your device doesn't have to have a job, it doesn't have to have an end result, but it's kind of fun if it does. You can make yours as big as you would like, as complicated as you would like, but remember that the goal of this is to be able to analyze the physics of it, so have at least 3 steps in there, regardless of how big it is. Have at least 3 steps in there that you know that you'll be able to analyze the physics of. And this example that I have here, like I said, each device has a pendulum, a horizontal plane, an inclined plane, and projectile motion. And those are all really straightforward motions to analyze. And by the end of the term, you'll be able to do all of those. Each step is also kicked off by an interaction. So in a minute, I'll run the videos and we'll see the first step is the pendulum swinging, and then there's an interaction between the pendulum and this first car. The second step is this car going across the horizontal plane. There's an interaction between the 2 cars. The third step is the car going down the plane, interaction between the car and the dog treat. And then the fourth step is the dog treat going off the edge. So when you think about, when you're watching these videos, think about the differences between interactions and steps. For your assignment, you will choose a single step and you'll analyze the interaction before the step itself, and the interaction after the step. You're tracing the energy as it travels through, and you are going to do some calculations about what that energy does for velocity as it's moving along. So it doesn't matter which steps you choose, but you cannot choose the first step because there's no real interaction before it. And you probably don't want to choose the last step. So pick something that you're looking at the interaction before and the interaction after. And the thing about RGD is if you're working over on RGD, you can use the software to pull up that velocity right before that first collision, which is what kicks everything off. If you're doing it in person, you would measure that velocity using conservation of energy or distance divided by time or whatever's appropriate for you to get that velocity right before the first interaction. And then just from having that velocity, you can trace all sorts of things. You also need the masses. If you don't have a kitchen scale at home, just give things a mass or look up how much approximately they would be. It doesn't have to be exact. You're just doing this for the practice of going through and working through these calculations. So if they're perfectly aligned with your RGD calculations, great, or what you pull off of the device, great, and if they're not, that's fine too. We can neglect friction. We can pretend it doesn't exist. We know it does exist in the real world, but we're going to do our calculations as if it doesn't. And in RGD, there are ways that you can set each device so that it's frictionless, or each component so that it's frictionless, and I'll post an announcement with some instructions on how to do that. So now let's look at how they go. This one I filmed end on because I wanted you to really be able to see the dog treat going. So we've got the first step, collision. Okay, it went too fast for me to talk you through it, but you see how that all went. This one goes a little bit slower. Pendulum hits, ball hits, ball hits. So we've got steps and we've got interactions. Think about those as you are watching these videos and making your device. If you can get kind of those 3 steps that you're going to use for analysis, if you can get those in your mind now and start working on those for your milestones, then those translate directly to your final project. All you'd have to do is look at my feedback in the gradebook and then make those corrections, and then that piece is ready for the final project. If you're not doing your milestones based on the steps you're going to be doing in your project, then you have to kind of reinvent that section for your project based on whatever steps you're using. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching. I used a template from SlideSgo for this presentation, so I want to make sure to give them credit. And again, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.